Alright, so let's take a look at problem number 14, and I believe our directions will change on this one. So let's go and get the problem. Yeah. Now, we're going to use several properties to answer this problem. So let's write these properties over on the side. If we have a base, and that base is raised to a power, and this whole thing is raised to another power, you can simplify this by multiplying the exponents together. So we say that a power raised to a power, you multiply the exponents. If you have a base raised to a power times the same base raised to a power, you can simplify this by adding the exponents together. If you have division and you have the same base, where multiplication you added the exponents, with division you subtract the exponent in the numerator minus the denominator. If you have a negative exponent, it does not make our answer negative. I can change that negative m to a positive m if I change the location of the base within the fraction. Right now this is in the numerator. If I move it down to the denominator, then I have to change the sign on the exponent. So these are the properties that we're going to use in this problem. Oh, you know what? I didn't write a 1 right there. Alright. Shrink this up in case we need that room. And I'll just put it over here. Alright. So I have two variables, u and v. Here I can see that I have a power raised to a power. There's exponents on u, exponents on v, parentheses, and then that's being raised to a power. So I'm going to multiply these exponents. This u will have a new exponent. I take positive 2 times a negative 2. That's going to get me a negative 4. This v, I'm going to multiply the 4/3 times negative 2. Now when you multiply fractions together, it's easier than addition or subtraction. I've got positive 4/3. I'm going to write negative 2 as negative 2 over 1. And now when I multiply them, I'm just going to multiply straight across the numerators and straight across the denominator. Now I have another base of v out here, and this v is being raised to the 5/4. Alright, so let's step by step, let's keep this negative for now. Let's multiply these two fractions together. The positive 4 times a negative 2 is a negative 8, and 3 times 1 is just 3. So now I have this v to the 5/4. Alright. We can simplify, since we have multiplication and these bases are the same right there. We can take this negative 8/3 and add 5/4. So to add fractions together, I need a common denominator. Now if I were you guys, I would just go ahead and use a calculator, because these scientific calculators can add fractions together for you. But I'm going to go ahead and see if I can move this a little bit over. Nope. I'm going to get a common denominator of 12. So we've seen this before. I'm going to take this first fraction and multiply it by the number 1, but I'm going to write 1 as 4 divided by 4. I'm going to take this second fraction. To get a denominator of 12, I have to have 4 times 3. For this to be a 1, I need the numerator and denominator to be the same. That gets me a common denominator. So now I can focus, 4 times 3 is 12. I can focus my attention on doing this arithmetic in the numerator to get my new numerator. So I have a positive 4 times a negative 8, which is negative 32, and I have 5 times 3, which is 15. So if I add those together, it'll be a negative value. U to the negative fourth. The negative 32 plus 15 is a negative 17. Now, I need to slow down a little bit and look at the directions, because I can't say that this is my final answer yet, because it says your answer should contain only positive exponents. So right now, both of my exponents are negative. I can make those exponents positive if I change the location of the base within a fraction. So right now I can create a fraction by just saying divided by 1, and now I can move this u to the negative fourth and make it u to the positive fourth if I move it to the denominator. And this v, same thing. I can make this fraction that's negative positive if I move it to the denominator. Now, since I've moved both things there, remember there's always a 1 here. 1 times that I now have a 1 in my numerator. But I'm not ready to say that this is my final answer either, because it says that I can't have fractional exponents in the denominator. Well, this v is in the denominator and its exponent is a fraction. That's a fractional exponent, and I can't have that. So here's a trick. We need to multiply this. We need this 17 over 12 to be an integer, like 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need it to be a positive integer. So how are we going to do that? Well, one way that we could do that, the only way that I see, is to change this 17 to a number that's divisible by 12. Okay, so if I change this to a 24, then I have 24 divided by 12, which is 2. But the problem is I just can't come in and erase that and write the number 24. But what I can do is be clever and multiply by the number 1. But we're going to write 1 in such a way that we can increase this 17 over 12 to make it 24 over 12. So 17 plus 7 is 24. If I have this raised to the 7/12 power, then to be the number 1, this has to be raised to the 7/12 power. Well, let's see what that does. When we multiply fractions together, we've seen it's easy. You just multiply the denominators together and you multiply the numerators together. Well, it's super easy to multiply these numerators because it's 1 times this. I'm just going to get this v to the 7 over 12. Now, in my denominator, I have this u to the fourth, and when I have v times v, I can add the exponents. So I have 17 over 12 plus 7 over 12. I have a common denominator, 12. So we can add the numerators together. And 17 plus 7 is 24. And 24 over 12 can be simplified to 2. 24 divided by 12 is 2. So we are ready to write our final answer. We have in the numerator v to the 7 over 12, and in the denominator we have u to the fourth times v, and 24 divided by 12 is 2. Now let's see if our answer fits the description of the directions. Your answer should contain only positive exponents. Well, my exponents are positive 7 over 12, positive 4, and positive 2. So hey, that checks. Contain only positive exponents. No fractional exponents in the denominator. In my denominator, my exponents are 4 and 2. They are not fractional exponents. So hey, this is my final answer. Hope that helps.